How's it going, man? We're watching one of your movies this week, a
Yo,
recommendation that you made that I had to put off for a little while because, life be lifing. But real quick, tell us what the movie we just watched is.
Triangle from 2009. Um,
2009's Triangle. I will tell you, so what was interesting was when I watched this, I was having weird deja vu moments while watching this movie, which is interesting for reasons we will get into about this
yeah.
movie. But I looked over at my girlfriend and I was like, holy crap, I have watched this movie. And then I was like, wait, no, maybe I'm imagining it. And then like something else would happen. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I've watched this movie. And then they get to a part where somebody throws an axe at someone. No,
Oh,
not even
yeah.
that. Someone throws a spent shotgun, just very ineffectually, just like and I was like, I have 100% seen this movie, and apparently my brain deleted its existence.
Oh, wow. I don't know how.
But yeah, apparently my brain just went, yeah, that was something. Let's not think about this one again.
I had a complete opposite experience. I was like, I need to figure this out, and it requires many, many viewings.
Which would probably be why you were the one who suggested this movie and I forgot it existed.
I had a similar experience though. It's funny you said you had deja vu in the whole movie. She's like, I have deja vu. Uh, so, when I first saw it, I put it on late at night. I knew that it was going to be a time loop movie because I was searching for time loop movies, like specifically. And so I put it on, but it was really late at night, so I actually fell asleep while watching it. Much like the previous episode we were talking about on Yara, and I fell asleep while watching it. Same thing with this, but this one, like, I woke up during the middle of it. I was like, "Oh shit, I missed a whole bunch," and I rewound it, started it again, fell asleep again, woke up at the same part I woke up from before, rewound it again, and I just refused to go to bed. I was like, I'm gonna watch this damn movie, and I kept rewinding it over and over again. So I was experiencing my own time loop while watching this movie about a time loop within a time loop. So
So let's get into the what this movie's actually about. So just as a brief overview, conceptually, this movie is about a group of friends who go on a yachting trip because boats, and they encounter they encounter a mysterious storm that has no wind, which
mhm.
sucks for a sailboat. Both in terms of not having wind and being caught in a storm. And then their little boat gets wrecked, and they encounter a mysterious like ocean liner just cruising along. And you've already mentioned sort of what the hook of this movie is, which is it's a time loop movie, like a movie with a circular narrative. But talking about that, like before, at what point did you notice the like skip or the catch or the repeat? Like where was it where you were like, all right, I know what I'm getting into?
Well, so like I said, I fell asleep while I was watching it. Right, so I woke up and I'm seeing like bloody headed Jess, like stabbing people, and then like I rebounded. I was like, is this the same scene again? So I was already aware of the loop before it actually I actually watched it like full all the way. So I like, unfortunately, I don't have the answer for that because I kind of ruined it for myself, which was an interesting way to watch it.
So I when it having already watched it but erased it from my brain, I actually looked up nothing and went into it completely blind. Like I just hit play. Um,
Hmm.
so like I had a weird moment where I was like, didn't know what the movie was about till I knew what the movie like it all like when it finally hit me, it hit me all at once and then would finally
Yeah,
much like a shotgun hit her. Um
yeah, it's
but
pretty good about that. It's just like things are really weird. There's a mass killer, and then oh shit, it's a time loop because like everybody dies within like half an hour, but then they come back and the boat's back, and you're like, oh shit, time is repeating itself.
so this is a British film actually and everybody is not British or they're British being
Australian,
American.
actually.
Um
It's Mel Gibson's production company.
really so the director Christopher Smith is British.
He might be, yeah. But like Liam Hemsworth is
Oh yeah.
Australian.
Who would probably be the most notable person in
Yeah.
this I mean Melissa George, the who plays the main character, has quite a bit she has
Um,
some notoriety,
yeah.
but
She's most
there's a
famous for
Hemsworth.
like 1 minute of Dark City.
I mean, we do love Dark City. She's also in Mulholland Drive, which is an interesting thing for her to also be in. Um
She in Mulholland Drive.
she's a character called Camilla Rhodes, but it would make sense.
Oh, okay. Wow, I did not know that was her.
Well, it would make sense because those Christopher Smith he was trying to make a similar movie, so he probably went to go watch it and was like, "I want that chick." She was also in 30 Days of Night. She was in Amityville Horror.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's right. I forgot about that.
yeah, so she has like a fairly decent pedigree in both horror and like fucked up movies, which Dark City like covers that. One of my favorite movies. Dark City really does cover
Yeah, I
that.
love Dark City. Yeah, that's another kind of not time loop, but kind of similar.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's similar, like not so much in narrative style, but in the viewer doesn't entirely know what's going on. Like you're discovering things as the
yeah,
character is. You're
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
like an omnipotent viewer.
And I
Um,
love movies like that. That's another movie that's great to go in just completely blind and have no idea what you're walking into.
oh, Dark City was I rented it on VHS, not knowing what it was, just going, this looks cool. Like, and
Yeah,
it was probably around the time of The Matrix, because I think I turned it around and there was like people in like leather trench coats, and I was like, all right, I
it
dig
is The
that.
Matrix. Yeah, it's The Matrix before The Matrix.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I
One
guess it
year
did come out.
before The Matrix.
Nice.
It's literally the same sets. Like The Matrix used the same sets that they used in Dark City.
Wow, we should cover Dark City at some point.
I'm down. But
Um,
Triangle.
yeah, so Christopher, the screenwriter, writer, director, he did nothing I have seen before. Like he did Severance, not the show, a movie,
Right.
which is also a horror film. Um, and since Triangle, he's done Black Death, which I haven't watched, but I think like Eddie Redmayne and Sean Bean are in it, and I think he looks exactly like he does in Lord of the Rings. Um, he's done Get Santa, The Banishing, Consecration, basically a whole lot of things I haven't watched. And then the first thing he ever did was Creep. I don't know if you've seen any of his works other than
Nope.
this. Yeah, like maybe he's just unknown to us because he's a British
Right.
predominantly working in Australia. So probably kind of a small cross section. But all right, so probably the big part, moving into the structure of this movie. Like wanted to talk about originally when I had written out, the sort of outline as we go through, like I like covering character motivations. I I for character motivations, really like the only one who has any motivation of importance is um Jess. Everybody else's
Mhm.
motivation is like not die.
Yeah, so when I told you about this movie, when we like planned to do this one, I told you this is a good movie in the guise of a bad movie because like everything about it kind of sucks. Like the character development is terrible, the script is terrible, the directing is okay, I guess, but like cinematography is awful, and just like everything about it sucks except for like the structure of the time loops, and like that I think is brilliant, but everything else is bad. So like, yeah, the characters are all like two dimensional, pretty weak.
I I I I I don't know if I would say the cinematography was terrible. There was definitely some visual, like there was some stuff that was not great, but there was some, like whoever the director of photography was, or even if it was the actual director, like Smith, there was definitely some visual callbacks to like 90s cinema and definitely some like early 2000s cinema, which I guess this was early-ish 2000. But there was definitely some like David Lynch style like long shots um with like pan overs, especially when they were like towards the end of the movie when they're on the road and stuff. Um
Mm.
and some of those shots really reminded me too of like what's the one with Keanu Reeves where he shoots in the gun his gun in the air and he yells ah um where he is a federal agent. Oh my god. And he's surfing and he loves his bros so much.
I don't know.
Point Break.
Oh, okay.
There was like cinematography wise, not story or anything else, but cinematography wise, um, some of like the way people were shot were like it was one person in front of the other, and like the person in the background was in soft focus, and they would move soft focus or pan back and forth. Really reminded me of those like 90s styles movie, which I thought was cool. There wasn't a whole lot else that I was like, this is super cool. One thing I did though appreciate, apparently he had them build like a replica of the outside of the ship because he wanted to keep the shooting as like factual, like to make it look as believable as possible.
Mm.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, there's the shot of the ship coming like towards them. But you were talking about motivations earlier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like really the only motivation is Jess. And I
Yeah,
think
I mean,
for
there's not a whole lot you could really do because it's about the time loop. Like
yeah, yeah.
so all the other characters that they just get killed multiple times, they don't matter.
Um
They exist to die.
well, so there's a character that I completely lost at one point, like almost towards the end of the movie. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to the other girl? There was another girl on this
Yeah.
boat. She went under and we never heard from her, and nobody even said anything or batted an eye that that chick probably drowned.
She got mentioned a few times. Unsurprising to nobody. I can't remember her name. Um,
Was she?
Heather is her name. So yeah, she when the boat gets capsized, she gets sucked out the window, and then when everybody like crawls back on the floating bottom of the ship, they're calling for her, or at least Sally's calling for her. And then when they get on the ghost ship, they're like when they see the keys, they're like, "Oh, maybe Sally was here." Um, but you want to hear my theory about Heather?
Yes, but let me just really quick. So the people on this boat are Greg. It's his yacht. He has a first mate who apparently was like a kid who had gotten in trouble, and he sort of like lets him live on the boat, and that's Liam Hemsworth's Victor.
Yeah,
There's
that was kind of dumb.
there's Greg's college roommate Downey and his wife Sally. And apparently they take this yacht tour every year. And every year, Greg is he's a bachelor, so every year they bring along some new woman to try to hook him up with, who in
Mhm.
this case was Heather.
Right.
Um, and then we're introduced to Jess, who is a friend of Greg who works at a diner that he visits daily.
Yeah, not even a
Um,
friend. He just he goes to her diner and that's their entire relationship.
and these are basically all the things we find out about all of them, except Jess has a special needs son. This is basically all the background we get on these characters.
Yeah.
Liam Hemsworth got in some trouble, lives on the boat. Jess has a special needs son. Downey and Greg went to college together. They keep trying to hook him up with women. That's all we know
Yeah.
about these characters. Uh,
And I like
so
how Heather isn't even interested in him. She's like, "Oh, I like the boy," meaning
who's who's
Liam.
Liam Hemsworth? Yeah, like
Yeah, and
Hemsworth.
Sally's just like, "No, no, you need to go for Greg so he doesn't hook up with Jess."
And the Greg's yacht is named the Triangle, like triangle, like when they do the slow pan over the name of the boat. I was doing that thing where it's like you're pointing, you're like, it's the name of the movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that part's kind of stupid.
and
There's a lot of stupid shit.
the boat that they transfer to is
Good shit.
named the
Aeolus.
Aeolus, which is the father of, was it Sisyphus? Yeah, it was Sisyphus.
Sisyphus, yeah.
So bring us to your, well, I guess bring us to your theory, and then we'll sort of map out the different versions of the characters that exist.
Okay. Uh, well, this is kind of jumping ahead, but Heather, who dies, gets sucked under the ship and presumably drowns. And this is not just my theory. Actually, I'm not going to take credit for this. This is I've heard many different people say the same theory, is that she is actually the only survivor, and really everybody is killed in the storm, and the ship is like the afterlife.
Yeah, that sort of fits in line with
What you
what
were
I
thinking?
one of the ideas that I potentially had for this. Not the Heather living, but um
Yeah, she's like the
yeah,
actual
like
only
it's why she's
survivor.
not there. Everybody else died, which is why they're still there.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Um
they go to the ghost ship and then which has the time loop.
so their
And
hell is to get murdered over and over again.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so basically it's it's not spelled out for us, which I actually appreciate. I really hate thrillers, psychological thrillers that spell it all out for you. That just like there's a character at the end that just tells the main character everything. And it's like, okay, they're just spoon feeding us. This one doesn't do that at all. It's up to us to figure out for ourselves because the movie actually trusts its audience and respects us. So I that's what I really like about this movie.
So there's a couple of different, it's a time loop. There's a couple of different past, present, and
Hmm.
future Jesses in this. By my count, there was three. There was the one that we are, the camera is sort of behind, the camera follows through the story.
Mhm.
So like Jess
Yeah.
Prime. There's the like Leatherface Jess, Um,
Better yet, Jason Voorhees from the second Friday the 13th movie.
that's true. He did
Yeah.
have just
Yeah, the
a
potato sack.
he had a potato
Yeah.
sack over his head. Yeah, that's actually that's a good callback. Or not a callback, but that's like a good like notice.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, he looks like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um, but yeah, no. Also, in there was definitely some Voorhees because of the way she appears and disappears, and we find out
Oh,
it's
yeah.
because there's multiple versions of them.
Right. Yeah, it's all, like, explained, pretty well because it's all, like, at the end like, I mean, it's not explained, but it's revealed later
Yeah,
on.
yeah. So like all the little like Jason Voorhees like mystery death thing, like the Jason Slow walk, you sort of realize, oh, it's not all one killer. And
Yeah,
then there's
it's kind of just like an homage to all the slashers that came before it.
a third Jess, the Silent Observer, which is the Jess that other Jesses see doing things. Um,
Yeah.
which either they have already done those things or they will do those things.
Right. I mean, it's all her,
Yeah,
like, really at the end of the day, it's just her at different, like, periods of time.
but still
So none of them are,
all
like,
at the
different.
same time,
Yeah,
because all three of them are sort of existing on the ship.
together. Yeah, there's 3 on the ship at any given time, and so
Yeah,
once one gets thrown off, a new one gets on.
yeah. Which is sort of the major like plot point is that all the original members of the triangle have to be removed from existence on the ship for the loop to reset.
Including just herself because
Yeah.
because everybody dies and then she gets thrown overboard.
Yep.
And then yeah, it resets.
Which like there I think the first time we get not confirmation, but we get like a oh, it's a whole bunch of hers is when she gets her locket stuck in like an AC grate.
Yeah, there's that and also all the notes that says like kill
Yeah,
them all. And she writes
yeah,
that.
and all the notes are in her handwriting, and she writes a note to test to see if it's her handwriting
Right.
and just adds to the pile.
Which that kind of creates a plot hole because there's the mini lockets, there's the mini notes, and there's the mini dead Sallys when
Correct.
uh and the birds too. But then you have the shotgun that keeps like regenerating itself and the like infinite amount of shotgun shells.
And
And
jumpsuits.
yeah, exactly. So it's like it's doing both, but which I've read on like lots of Reddit forums that is like the number one thing that pisses people off. Like, like a lot of people can't get over that. I don't care personally. I think it's just a thing just to show us that it's just this has happened many times.
Well,
And
that's the thing though. They may not actually be infinite because they did show that there was like when you see her go to the armory, there are a bunch of spaces where there should be guns, but there
yeah,
isn't guns. Um, she hasn't done this by the amount of dead Sallys.
yeah.
She's probably only done this about 20 to 30 times,
Well, no.
which
Here's the thing, is that the Sallies that make it up to that top there and die in that spot, that's only half of them because those are the ones who get stabbed, but half of them get shot. So it's actually double that.
wait, but then where When
Yeah,
wait,
I know.
did Sally get shot at all? I know
Yeah.
Downey gets shot.
Yeah. So there's two different separate loops that happen on top of each other. So you could say there's just one and there's just two, and then it's just one again and then just two, and it just keeps going one two one two one two. But at any time on the ship, it's either a 1-2-1 or 2-1-2, and so the group of people, like the first group, they all get shot. Like Sally and Downey both get shot in the theater, and they die in the theater. Then group two, Jess comes and like saves them, and she shoots the shooter, and that's where she gets the bloody head. And then and then she takes them into that room, and the bloody head Jess stabs them, and they don't get shot. Both of them get stabbed, and Sally makes her way up to the top and dies in that group of dead Sallys. But the first one, they get shot and they die in the theater.
So then there should be a pile, like a half as large pile of bodies,
Well,
Downey's and Sally's. She
yeah, there should be, but she throws them overboard. There's
well,
that part at the end where she figures out where she's like, "Oh, I need to kill them." There's that part where she throws the bodies overboard, and then the previous earlier version of Jess, she sees the bodies floating in the water,
well, see,
and
that's
like
the
the
thing. Like
birds do.
they show her throw over Greg and
Yeah,
Victor and the boy, um,
oh boy.
but you never see her throw over Sally and Downey.
Yeah, I think that's just implied
I think that's fair.
because it is like a 90-minute movie. Yeah.
That's a really good. I mean, that's a really good way of doing, 2-2-1-1-1-2-1.
Yeah.
Like that's I hadn't thought about it that way because that is three Jesses, but technically it's only two of them, and then one on a different loop, or
Right. Yeah, and it just keeps, like, going back and forth as because we see everything that we're just that we're following. Just Prime, as you called her. We see everything that she sees, but then, like, in the end, she goes overboard, she goes back a day, she lands up on the beach and then walks to her house, and then, kills her previous self, and then gets in the car crash, and then gets back on the ship, and then that's where the movie ends. But in like if it were to keep continuing, that she now becomes just two who has a different experience on the ship because she sees Victor, and then just one interrupts them and points the shotgun at her, and she's like, "You're not me," and and then uh, and then she just one shoots um just two, and she gets a bloody head, and then she's killed with the axe by her previous self. It's complicated to really talk about. I hope I'm making sense.
no, no, no. What's interesting, there is a scene, there might actually even be more like differentiating loops, because there is a scene where you see one of the Jesses throw the other one over, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah. So that's
both
just two.
in that instance, they're both wearing the white shirt and jean shorts.
Hmm.
One of them isn't wearing
The cardigan.
the no, the jumper, the jumpsuit,
Yeah,
which means there's a loop where jumpsuit Jess never makes it into that cycle, and like it's a Jess 1 and a Jess 1, like Jess 1 and Jess 2 never
yeah,
overlap.
exactly. Yeah. So it's only two. Just one fights just one, and just two fights just two, and just two kills just two. So like just one, she she shoots from in the theater.
Yeah.
Just once she shoots the Sally and Downey, just to Sally and Downey, and then just one fights the like masked Jess, and then swings overboard, like swings the axe at her, and she falls overboard. That's all. That is just one. Just two is gets the bloody head, and then just two fights just two, and then like the younger just two kills the older just two, the coveralls, and she kills her with the axe. So that's the very end of Jess's life right there. It just all happens simultaneously.
So where do you think the yeah, yeah. It might take me probably either gonna have to do some reading or rewatch this again. I was just
I
like
watched this a lot of times to try to figure it out. And that's what I told you. I was like, you need to watch this multiple times.
I went and like I watched it and I was like, all right, cool. Back to the Future 2, circular, done.
Yeah, I mean, like, it makes sense each time you watch it, like, it makes more and more sense, and, like, I was like, "This is a puzzle I need to figure out," so I just, like, kept watching it, and I was just like, "Okay, I'm starting to figure it out."
I don't know if that's the boulder I'm gonna be rolling up the hill over and over. But speaking of which, so there is some explicit mentions of Sisyphus in this movie. Um, is Jess the one that's being doomed to
Yeah,
repeat like her grueling task over and over again?
absolutely, she is Sisyphus, yeah.
Was
But you wanna talk about the taxi driver?
well, so who did you think the taxi driver was?
First viewing, I didn't really think anything about it. I just thought it was a taxi driver. I didn't realize that she was actually dead. Um, I thought that she was just stuck in a time loop in the Bermuda Triangle. But I picked it up later. Also read like some like theories about it. But yeah, an ongoing theory that's really popular that I've heard from multiple other people, um, is that he is like Charon, the fairy man from Greek mythology. That when you die, he takes you to the river or through the river Styx into the underworld.
Yeah.
Because there's the car crash, and then the lighting changes. It gets like a lot darker, saturated, and she's just like looking over the bodies, and so she's pretty much like she's dead, and like that's her soul, pretty much. And so he just shows up, and he's like, "Can I give you a ride?" And she's just like, "Yeah, take me to the pier." And so here's the thing that suggests that she is Sisyphus is that when he takes her there, he says, "I'll leave the meter running. You'll come back, right?" And she says, "Yes, I promise." But she doesn't come back. And then they explain earlier in the movie of the whole myth of Sisyphus is that Sisyphus cheated death. And so like he had already died previously, and then he like made his way out. He promised that he would come back, but he never does. And so that's when they punish him with the rolling the rock up the hill. So this is pretty much saying that um, she, the taxi driver is supposed to take her to the underworld to like the actual like her hell, her actual punishment for being the abusive mother for her child. Um, and so he's supposed to take her to the underworld, but she gets out at the pier and she promises to come back, but she doesn't. So she is cheating death. And so her punishment for cheating death is the time loop.
I actually thought of the taxi driver as not so much like the ferryman of the soul, which I mean he was a little bit of, but more as just like death. Um,
Yeah, I mean, kind of the
and
same thing. Grim Reaper,
and
yeah.
yeah, but so I thought for me it was more the ship and reliving the final events are her her hell, her purgatory. Like this is where she's going to be forever now. Um, but there's like I also had an interesting thought about that, which pertains to another movie with circular narrative that I'll get into in a little bit. But like for me, where I think the loop actually starts is when she is driving the car. Like I don't think that's the her we're following. I don't think is the her that's actually driving the car. I think the Jess in the green dress who beat her kid is the Jess that's driving the car, and she gets into a car accident
Yeah,
um
yeah, totally.
and dies
Yeah, it kills
because
her and the kid. Yeah.
yeah, because the for one, when the car accident happens and we pan across the car accident to Jess Prime standing there. She's no longer bloody. Her clothes are no longer dirty and sweaty. It's like a new, fresh Jess ready
Right.
to go.
Mhm.
Um, and the Jess that is dead shouldn't, you know, the
Yeah,
car
she's just laying
flipped
on the
over.
pavement. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not locked in the trunk in a duffel bag
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah. Exactly.
where where Jess Prime had original, when she killed herself, Jess by herself, I mean a completely different version of herself. Jess Prime put herself in a duffel bag
Mm.
and locked her in
Yeah.
the trunk of the car, which if if was still part of this like she sees a whole bunch of seagulls
Yeah.
um that she throws over the side. There should be like if we're on this infinite loop, she should open the trunk of that car and there should be like 30 other duffel bags full of dead Jesses.
Yeah, yeah, so that's where it all like that's where I was having the most difficult time was just like that. I think that just the multiple everything is just for us to understand that this is a continuous loop that's just happening over and over again.
Yeah.
But so like let's start um so like I agree completely with what you just said. So if we start with living Jess, let's say like living Jess. She exists. She works in a restaurant. Dude comes over. He invites her to go sail with them, and she's like, okay. And then on that morning, she's dealing with her kid. She's like really pissed off at him. She's abusive. She's like hitting him. May actually kill him in the house, and the thing that suggests that is that if there's a clock in a wall and I forgot what time it is, but later on in the movie, there's another clock and it's the exact same time as when she hits the kid. So that kind of suggests that she actually kills him in the house and like she stuffs him in the duffel bag or something like that. Um, the movie's not really like perfect. But yeah, so she's driving in the car, gets in the car wreck, and then she dies. And then that's like the end of her story as a living mortal on Earth. Um, so then her soul is looking over and she's in like the white tank top and the shorts. And then the yeah, Grim Reaper, Charon, whatever you want to call him, he is supposed to take her to hell or whatever. And then she escapes that. She cheats death, goes back into the land of the living, and then she's back living again. in a physical body, and she meets up with everybody and gets on the boat, and then they're sailing, and then the storm comes and they all die except for Heather. And so now they're all just souls thinking that they're still alive. Ghost ship comes, they get on the ghost ship, and so let's say that everybody are all really shitty people, which Heather for sure is. But let's just say that they all like they deserve to be punished in the afterlife by getting murdered brutally by Jess. That's their punishment. And Jess's punishment is for cheating death, and so she has to go through the loop and all of that, and it's just a never-ending time loop. So then she gets knocked overboard, she goes back in time, and there's a thing that like I've always heard that like when you die you like look at how you treat the people around you, like what terrible things, like you witness the terrible things you've done to the people in your life. And so that's what she's doing. She's like seeing herself like beat her kid and possibly kill him. So she prevents herself from killing herself by murdering hers, or she prevents herself from killing her kid by murdering herself, takes the kid in the car, but it's like fate, So the kid still dies anyway in the car wreck. And then she dies again. And then she's a soul again. And then she goes through the loop and it's never ending. But
Yeah,
if she weren't to cheat death, if she just stayed in a taxi, he would have taken her to like her real punishment for killing the kid, whatever that is. We never see what that is.
so I actually think this is her. I don't think she killed the kid. Um,
Or she
my
beats
like,
him at least. We see that for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So my thought on it was, so you have Sundress Jess, which is like getting ready to go hang out with Greg and these people.
Hmm.
Um, so like my chronology of it is that happens. Her only desire, and she says it, she says, all I want is one day off. And she slaps the shit out of her special needs kid. And I mean, not a great mother, probably not
Uh-oh.
a great person. We know she's divorced. We don't know if she's the reason. Or but she Greg tells us in the plot that the kid goes to a special needs school that's open every single day. So
Right.
my thought was she was going to go drop the kid off at the special needs school, go and have her one day off, pretend he doesn't exist, have the day that she wants to have. Gets in the car accident, like she hits the seagull dies, but I think that's the point where she has the car accident. She hits the seagull, flip car or swerves and flips into the 18-wheeler and flips the
Right.
car. Um and then I think Death does take her to, I don't think she cheats Death. I think Death takes her to her ultimate reward, which is she has to relive being a terrible mother, slapping the shit out of her son, getting on the ship, about to get the thing that she desires the most, which is her one day off, her one day to like, go hang out with this dude and not be a mother. And then things go horribly wrong. And then she has to do it all over again and forget the events till she goes through the events. And then this is her Sisyphean hell, because Sisyphus cheated hell once and then, or death once, didn't do it the second time, which his hell is to push that rock. This is her hell. Like her
It's
hell,
yeah, she's pushing the rock. Yeah.
yeah, is to almost get her heart's desire, but never
Mm.
quite attain it, which for Sisyphus, it's, getting that rock. I think the difference is, like if we talk about Camus
Right.
with his version of Sisyphus, Sisyphus is just like, well, I'll get that rock next time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly.
where
So I think both could be true. Both what you're saying and what I was saying.
Yeah, I mean, she may have cheated death once and not again, but I don't. I think like this is her hell. Like this is
Yeah.
what she's going to live it like eternally over and over. I don't
Right.
know so much if like Greg, Sally, Downey, like all of them are
They deserve
actually
it.
dead, or if they even like we know Greg existed because she's met him, but she's never met
Yeah.
any of the other people. So within the context of like, she's living out of hell, like it could just be, this is what hell has created for you. You accidentally killed the good-looking guy by smashing his head on a spike. Whoops. Uh there's a bitchy woman who doesn't want you there. There's a pretty bubbly chick. It's fine. You never hear from her again. Like, and then there's the
She
good-looking guy you
offered
like.
her champagne. That's why she got to live. That's why she didn't go on the ship because she offered her champagne. She was nice to her.
Um, so like, yeah, like I think this is her Sisyphean punishment to just do this for eternity.
It definitely is. Yeah, and the punishment is because she cheated death. That's why she's on the time loop because like the time loop is the boulder that she's rolling up the hill. Or I guess the hill is the time loop. The boulder is what you're saying. Like I like what you said. The whole thing of like she wants to have that day off to herself, and that is the boulder, but it keeps rolling back down the hill, and the hill is the time loop. So she's doing this, or she has to go through this because she cheated death.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
Um,
because she got out of the taxi cab,
so
promised to come back, and never did.
do you think she has a way to break out of the loop?
She okay, so she can, but she doesn't. Like all the decisions she makes, like each loop is the same exact loop because we know that because we see the same exact events play
Or one
out.
of two loops?
Yeah, like they're both the same person. She makes the same decision, but there's two different loops. But it's still her. So like she gets on the ship, all the things happen, she gets knocked off the ship, she goes back in time, she kills herself, she dies in a wreck, she gets back on the ship and then starts the second loop. So like her getting killed in the car wreck and getting in the taxi cab, that's actually the midway point. That's in the middle of two
Yeah.
different loops that happen simultaneously.
Um, have you ever watched did you ever watch Looper?
Yeah. That's actually one of my least favorite time travel movies.
Like circular narrative movies? I I actually so this movie when I watched it, I was like when the, midway through the movie when the loops are revealed and I'm like she needs to do a looper. She needs to do a Joseph
Yeah.
Gordon-Levitt and just
See,
put the shotgun in her mouth and be like I'm ending this loop.
yeah, see that's the thing is this is predestination. So it's like everything that happens already happened. Like it's like set, right? It's determinism. It's like all the decisions that she makes is her own. So she does still have free will, but it's not like she can change it because it's she's already done it. Like, like everything that happens just all happens simultaneously. Like time doesn't exist on the ship the way it does anywhere else because the ship is the afterlife. So it's not like real life. It's a whole nother alternate. dimension, kind of. It's like you walk into like a room with two mirrors on either side, and when you look through the mirror, you just see like just an infinite other reflections of yourself, and it's like it's like that. When she gets on the ship, she's just looking at infinite versions of herself, and every decision that she makes is just she makes it once, and then she dies at the end, and then
Well,
that's it.
well, I think the difference is that like in Looper, um, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is still in charge of the narrative, so he can change his own narrative.
Yeah, that's why I don't like
Um,
that movie.
Whereas in this movie, because she's in hell and she's some sort of omnipotent being, whether it be death or what have you, has written her narrative for her. Like she can't escape the narrative because that's how it was created to be. And I know we're getting into some like very meta plot details
Yeah.
where
Oh,
like
yeah.
author
That's what it's
author
all
as
about.
author as God Stephen King bullshit.
Well, see,
Um
that I disagree with. I think that she has free will, and every decision she made was her own. It just all happened simultaneously.
See,
So,
I
like, it
don't
already happened. Like, you can't change the things that you've done in the past. Like, it's happened. It just happens to be on this ship. The things that she did in the past happened later on.
see, I think this is the point where we get into discussions about omniscience and omnipotence. Like if she had free will. That's the thing. Like once she's dead, I don't think she has free will. I think she thinks she has free will, and the viewers, we think she has free will. But at this point, she's like a record spinning on a
Yeah.
skip. Like the some sort of being, the taxi driver, um, already saw how the events were going to play out and then scripted the events so they play out exactly
I see. I
like they
disagree with
do.
that. I think he's just the ferryman. Like he's just the taxi driver. All his entire job is to just take her from A to B, and instead he took her somewhere else. Um, which was what she said to do. I think that like so she makes a decision. So the first time she's there, she's with the crowd, and she goes into the theater. Her future self shoots everybody, and then she runs out. So then when she sees that it's the second loop comes, then she grabs a shotgun. She tries to change it, and she puts the gun up to like just two, and she's like, "You're not me." And then just two runs away, and then she goes into the theater again, and instead of her friends getting shot, she shoots at the like knapsack Jess, and she gets the bloody head. So like things do change with her decisions. But the thing is that those things it happens every time. So she makes decisions on her own, but each loop is the exact same because it's a loop. So it's basically like an echo kind of. You go to like a long like tunnel and you shout out something and you hear the echo. That's what's happening here. It's just an echo.
See, that's why I don't think she has free will. Because if she did have free will, you would get into situations where there's an infinite amount of possibilities. There would be more than two loops. So as the loop
Hmm.
replayed, she'd be able to to alter it. I mean, now we're getting to
There you go.
like,
No,
issues of
I've been looking forward to this
Kazat
conversation. I knew that you were gonna bring this up
of
because that's like what you think at first. But like the thing is that it's like it's determinism. If you follow determinism, it's like things happen because of outside influences determine all of your decisions. So like she only makes the decision once, right? and and then she dies at the end when she gets killed by her previous self with the axe. And then it happens again and again. It's not like she keeps going into the same loop over and over again, like going back in time, going back in the same loop, and like it's like she can make any differences. Like she is part of the loop. So I get why you're saying you don't think she has free will, because it's determinism and the same events keep happening because it's an echo. But it's like everything that she does is her decision. She just makes it one time, and then that one decision loops.
See, but I mean, like, if it's deterministic, then she doesn't have free will. Like, classical determinism says that we're
I
not
know, I know.
in control of our own actions, so our actions ultimately are meaningless because there's some higher power
Yeah,
that has already determined what those actions are gonna be, which, case in point, is why uh, I don't think she has
but
free
she's
will.
she's the one
I
making the
think
decisions, though.
I I don't think she is. I think she had free will up until the point she died.
Yeah, yeah. Wait. Died which
Like
time?
the
Okay,
car death,
okay.
like the flipping the vehicle death. I think she could have chosen to not slap her son.
Yeah,
She could
absolutely.
have chosen to not swerve into the 18, like she could have chosen to swerve right instead of left. But I think once she died, free will for Jess was sort of out the window. Um, now, like, then we get into the like moral dilemmas of like classic theology.
Yeah.
Like, was that preordained for her, or if she hadn't been a terrible person and beat her kid, would the taxi driver have taken her?
Right.
Like, would she still have gotten her 1 day off,
Yeah, yeah.
but it would have been good? She wouldn't have had to kill everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, would that have
My thought is that like he was on his way to take her to a completely different punishment for being an abusive mother, but she cheated death before he could do that. Like she got out of the taxi and went into the boat, uh, instead of going to her punishment. So she has a completely different punishment for cheating death.
see, but then it, because ultimately the taxi driver goes where he
Yeah,
tells her.
I mean
Like
he's just a
the only
ferryman, you know. He's like I don't give a
yeah,
fuck.
like
They don't pay me enough for this shit.
yeah, so like I don't know if he was taking her to a different hell because ultimately like she's like take me to the
Yeah,
marina.
yeah, that's true.
Um I I think the version of the marina she would get was dependent on the choices she made while she still had free will. Like, would he have taken her to the Elysian fields, just to stay in the vein of Greek mythology? Like, what would her Elysian fields
Yeah,
have
it could have
been?
been something completely different.
An infinite amount of possibilities because you know, chaos as a factor exists. Like the rain could have splattered differently. The boy Greg Mike could have yelled a little earlier to pull the sail and they wouldn't have ended up there.
Yeah, but like
Um,
he didn't.
that's why I think like there's
He made the decision to like pull the sail, and so they get on the ship, right? And so Jess has many different, like you said, like an infinite possibilities of choices. So like she goes to the theater and like the shots are coming down. The reason why the shots are coming down because she made a decision to shoot them, but time is messed up. So it's like it's all happening. All of her decisions are happening simultaneously at the same time, right? So it's her. She made the decision to shoot everybody. That came from her. Um, and like you could say she made the decision, like she shoot everybody because that's what she did before, but it's like it's not really that way because it's like this is a place where time exists in a different way than what we're used to. So like let's say she picks up the shotgun. She sees that like the time loop keeps resetting every time everybody dies. She could make a completely different decision to not kill anybody and jump off the boat, but she doesn't. Her decision is to kill everybody, and that's the decision she makes. That was her choice.
I see, but those are like Greg's choice to or not pull the
Yeah.
sales. I don't think he gets a choice in that. I think, like, in when you talk about, you know,
Hmm.
free will and the forces of chaos, especially on, like, once you start getting into the physics of it, which is interesting because there is a like physics style of determinism, which I'm not gonna look up because that feels like a whole other rabbit
Yeah, I
hole.
know. Honestly,
But
I know what you're talking about, and in truth, I like in the real world, us talking right now. I don't think that we have free will at all. I don't think that exists. Like I'm all board on determinism, and that like all of our thoughts are predetermined by like outside forces by because like the wind blew, I ended up doing something, and I I was hungry, so I ate something, but that's not really a decision that I made. So like I completely follow what you're saying, but as far as like the narrative goes of the story being told, I think that they do have free will.
see, I don't. I think they're players on a stage.
Okay, Shakespeare.
Um, like have you ever watched Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Must
No.
Die? So they're Rosencrantz and Guildenstern from Hamlet, from Shakespeare's Hamlet. And they're going through the events leading up to because in Hamlet, like, they talked their Hamlet's uncle gets his school friends to come and talk to Hamlet to dissuade him, and he has them put to death. So the whole movie is the lead up to them talking to Hamlet, and the fact that ultimately, regardless of what actions they take, what how they play it out, they are going to die. That is how it has been written, because once they're actually on the stage, they're going to deliver the exact same lines. Hamlet's going to react the exact same way that he does, and they're still going to go to the gallows. Everything before that moment is them exploring the inevitability of the part that has already been written for them. Um, s- love that
Huh.
movie. It's got a very young um from Leon the Professional, Gary Oldman. Very
Oh, okay.
young
So I
Gary
love Gary
Oldman,
Oldman.
very young Tim Roth. Tim Roth and Gary Oldman just waxing poetic about, philosophy and the philosophy of life. And everything, ultimately, the part has already been written for them. It doesn't matter how the actors deliver it. At the end, the outcome is the same. Which is how, at least in the context of this film, that's how I view it, because it doesn't matter. This part has already been written for Greg and for Jess. Like she's just gonna go through the motions over and over. But I think they're two interesting takes, and I think a lot of different people are gonna have a lot of
Yeah,
different
and
takes
that's what I
on
like
this
about it
movie.
is that it because it's like that, and it's not spelled out for us. We're here having this conversation. Because like if they did, like they could have easily ruined this movie by like at the ends have somebody just like say just explain everything to Jess as like she gets in the taxi cab and the taxi driver is like, this is all happening because you killed your son, and so you kept going into the time loop, blah blah blah. And, like I would have been so pissed off. Like I hate it when movies
I
do
mean,
that.
at the simplest point, like this movie could have just cut to Jess getting off of the cab and then her just standing there, and then you do a long like pan and then a long pullback as she decides whether she's going to walk down the pier and get back on that ship or not.
But we know she is
Like,
because
and I
just two has to show up.
well, well, yeah, but then it depends what version of the loop you're in. But like they could have done that, and then you would probably have gotten into, is this hell or is this purgatory? Because if it's purgatory, she can
Yeah.
escape it. If it's
Well,
hell,
here's the
she
thing is that
can't.
she gets killed at the end with the axe. She kills herself with the axe. So like loop one, just one, she fights herself, right? She's got the sack over her head and they're fighting. She throws the gun at her and like they fight and then she gets on the edge and she's like, you have to kill them all. And then the younger Jess swings the axe at her but misses, and then she falls overboard, goes back in time, kills herself, gets on the taxi, leaves the taxi, gets on the ship, and then she's just two. Now, just two is a little bit different because she's interrupted by the previous just one, and she's like, "You're not me," and then she goes off, and then she fights herself, and just two hits herself with the axe and kills her. I think that's the end. Like that's it. So she doesn't get back in and start a new loop. She just like she has two loops and she dies at the end.
Yeah, I don't think she wait. When she says she kills her with the axe, are you talking about she kills um Sundress
No,
Jess
no,
with the
on the
axe?
ship. You
Oh, I don't
she stabs her
I
with the
don't think she
axe.
ever
Yeah.
killed. Yeah, but I don't think she ever kills her. Like
Yeah.
and maybe I'd have to go rewatch it, but I don't think there is, or at least I don't remember, a moment where she kills her on the ship. I think every single time it ends with a Jess going
It
overboard.
doesn't. Like she
Um,
what? So when you see all the dead Sallys, she sees all the dead Sallys, then she looks down and she sees just two and just two fighting each other, and younger just two kills the older just two with the axe. Like you watch that happen.
yeah, see, when I saw it, I saw her go in with the axe and then she goes overboard.
Nah, she kills her. She
Um,
throws her overboard. Like she picks up the dead body and throws the body overboard.
man, I'd probably have to rewatch it. Like maybe I missed that, but yeah, like that wasn't, to me, like the only actual dead Jess is Sundress Jess, and that doesn't happen
It happens after the
till she gets in a
yeah,
car
but
accident
at the very beginning, or I guess in the middle. Um,
or at the very end because circular.
yeah, but I don't. I mean, she does. She does. Like I promise you, it did happen. She kills herself with the axe. So I think that's the end of the loop. So there's not a new loop after that. So then Sundress Jess gets on the ship. but we don't see that. We never see
Except,
that happen.
yeah, I don't know. Except like Sundress just never gets on the ship because there isn't a version of her in a
Yeah.
sundress that makes
So I
it to
guess
the ship.
when she dies in the car wreck, her soul comes out, and her soul is wearing the white tank top.
Yeah, which is why I think this is, it's either her purgatory or her hell.
Yeah.
So which is, if it's purgatory, she's gonna do it a bunch of times and eventually
Yeah,
escape it.
and so we
If it's
we
hell, she's
agree
gonna do it
on
forever.
that this is like an afterlife. That's the one
Yeah,
thing we
yeah.
agree on.
So, I mean, we've brought up some other circular narrative films. Um, what how does this rank? Like,
Hmm.
how would you stack this against
You want me to give you
what
my
are some
top
other
5?
circular narrative films? What are some other circular narrative films? We have Arrival,
Mm.
which I
Yeah,
actually just
yeah,
rewatched the other
yeah,
day.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Which, yeah, similar to this movie. The beginning is the end is the beginning, where all the events are happening at the exact same time. We, the viewer, just aren't aware of it
Yeah,
till the end of the
yeah,
movie.
she tells the guy what he told her, and we never hear what that
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, unless you
Oh,
speak
right,
Chinese.
sure.
Uh, and then there's Groundhog Day.
That one, yeah, that one's the most different one because it's like the day starts over, but his consciousness keeps going. So, yes, that does count. So, yeah, there's Groundhog Day.
And there's probably one of my favorite, which I saw somebody call sci-fi Groundhog Day, which is Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
There's, my favorite is 12
there's
Monkeys.
well, actually, yeah, no, that actually might be my favorite too. There's Looper, which also has what's his name from 12
Yeah, Bruce
Monkeys?
Willis. But is that
Bruce
a
Willis.
reoccurring time loop, or is that just the guy going into the past? Is that just time travel?
He breaks the loop is the thing. Like it could have been, so what it is in Looper, he comes back to shoot the woman whose kid
Right.
sees
I think that's just time travel.
his
Like, I
mother.
don't think that there's an
Well, no,
actual reoccurring loop
no,
over and
no,
over again.
no. So the kid sees his mother get shot, and he becomes like the big boss that sends Bruce Willis back to get shot by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is young Bruce Willis in
Right.
this movie. So if Bruce Willis never got sent back in time and started the chain of events where he shoots the kid's mother, it would never send Bruce Willis back in time to get shot by the younger version of himself, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So we don't know if this is played out multiple times or if it will always play out. Um, we what we see is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, or we don't see it, we hear it, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt ending the loop. But it depends, again, you get into, is it a deterministic universe? Will somebody, regardless of who it is, will someone shoot the kid's mother, which puts it on that
Mm.
path so that a Bruce Willis comes back into the past? Or is it like an infinite universe where there's an infinite amount of possibilities where that happens and we're only seeing one of them? Um, Edge of Tomorrow is Groundhog Day. Like he wakes up every day, but he still has
Right. Yeah,
knowledge
yeah, yeah.
of of the skips. Um,
There's also Terminator, the first Terminator. The Term
is that one just time travel or is it a loop?
it's both because, Kyle Reese goes back in time and impregnates John Connor's mother and has John Connor, who he sends to protect her. Like John Connor sends back Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese impregnates Sarah Connor. Uh,
which is more, it's less to protect her, and it's more like, I need you to go back in time and fuck my mom so that I
exactly,
exist,
and
Dad.
not only
Um,
that, but the remains of the Terminator that's destroyed is what the they
oh yeah,
use
that's true. That's
to create
I,
Skynet.
I mean, yeah. By that point, though, like we're getting into if there hadn't been a Terminator 2
Yeah,
or
that's true.
3 or 4, um, I guess the to a certain extent also Arnold Schwarzenegger on Mars,
Oh, Total Recall.
Total Recall, because we don't know if this is a series of events he is just recalling
Oh, yeah, yeah.
or if
If
it's
it's a
actually
dream
happening.
or if yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, that I mean
yeah.
that's a whole nother thing. But yeah. But
Um,
another time loop movie. Another. So let me just give you like my top five. There's this one. There's Time Crimes, which is just like this. It's a little easier to understand. Terminator, 12 Monkeys, and Predestination.
I don't I don't think I've seen Predestination.
I'm not
For
gonna tell
me,
you anything about it because I want to cover it on this channel, and
for
yeah,
me,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah. I would go, yeah, 12 Monkeys. I would go
wait, did I
12
say 12
Monkeys.
Monkeys? Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
think you did. Do you want to
Yeah,
do
all
them
right.
again?
12 Monkeys,
But I'm pretty sure
Terminator,
you did.
Predestination, Triangle, Time Crimes. Okay.
See, I would go Edge of Tomorrow. No, 12 Monkeys, Edge of Tomorrow, Eternal Sunshine of the
Yeah.
Spotless Mind.
That because
Um,
that there's
maybe not.
no like re
No, they're going through a loop. They keep
yeah,
deleting each other from each
but
other's
it's
memory.
not like they're going back in time. It's just like
Oh, well, no, no, it's a circular
yeah,
narrative.
like they erase each other's memories and then they meet each other again and then start a
Yeah, and
completely new relationship without any memories.
that plays yeah, that plays out almost exactly the same, and then they go through all the same actions. Like, I was it's not time-based, but it is a circular narrative, which is why I was
Okay.
including it. If we're doing just time-based, um, 12 Monkeys, Groundhog Day, Edge of Tomorrow, Back to the Future, because he's
Yeah.
the he's the one that puts himself on his own path to put himself on that path.
It's a good movie
Like,
as it
if he
exists, but I don't really like it as a time travel movie.
Yeah, that's fair. And then, yeah, I guess Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, Triangle doesn't even make the cut.
I like I mean, like I said, Triangle is not a good movie, but like the backbone of it, the structure of the time loops is really good. And the fact
Yeah,
that it
yeah.
doesn't spell
I
it
mean,
out for you and you have and it requires you to actually think and have conversations like this, that's why I love it.
yeah, definitely think everyone should watch it at least once
And
for
then 12 more
good or for
times after
bad.
that.
11, just for the amount of
Oh, okay.
monkeys. But I think with that, that's a good point to wrap it up. So we will catch everybody on the next one.